I stumbled upon an old, leather-bound diary in the attic of my newly purchased house. The attic was a dusty, forgotten space filled with relics of the past, but this diary caught my eye immediately. Its cover was worn, and the pages were yellowed with age, giving off a distinct, musty odor. As I brushed off the dust, I noticed the name Jonathan Carter, embossed in faded gold letters on the front. My curiosity was piqued, and I couldn't resist opening it. The diary belonged to an explorer named Jonathan Carter, who had vanished mysteriously in the early 1900s. I had heard whispers about the house's previous owners, but nothing prepared me for the chilling entries I was about to read. The first few pages described Carter's ambitious expedition to uncover ancient secrets in a remote, uncharted territory. His writing was meticulous, filled with detailed observations and sketches of strange symbols and artifacts. I could feel his excitement and determination through his words. I decided to read it, feeling an inexplicable pull towards its weathered pages. As I delved deeper into the diary, I found myself drawn into Carter's world. His descriptions were vivid, painting a picture of dense jungles, towering mountains, and hidden ruins. The sense of adventure was intoxicating, but there was an undercurrent of something darker. Carter often mentioned a foreboding presence, a feeling that they were being watched. It was as if the diary itself was a gateway to his experiences. The first entries detailed Carter's ambitious expedition to uncover ancient secrets in a remote, uncharted territory. He wrote about assembling a team of seasoned explorers and setting off into the unknown. The journey was fraught with peril, from treacherous landscapes to encounters with hostile wildlife. Yet Carter's determination never wavered. He believed he was on the brink of a monumental discovery, one that would change humanity's understanding of history. His passion and obsession were palpable, and I found myself captivated by his narrative. As I read, a sense of foreboding grew within me, sensing that something terrible lay ahead. The more I immersed myself in the diary, the stronger this feeling became. It was as if Carter's fate was somehow linked to my own. The house seemed to respond to the diary's revelations. Strange noises echoed through the halls, and shadows danced in the corners of my vision. My excitement was tinged with a growing dread, but I couldn't stop reading. I had to know what happened to Jonathan Carter and what secrets his diary held. Carter described the journey to the uncharted territory, filled with dangerous terrain and hostile weather. The team faced relentless storms and treacherous paths, testing their resolve at every step. The dense jungle seemed alive, its shadows playing tricks on their minds. Carter's words painted a vivid picture of their struggles, and I could almost feel the oppressive humidity and hear the incessant buzz of insects. Each entry was a testament to their endurance and the challenges they overcame. His team included seasoned explorers, yet the tension among them was palpable. Carter's obsession with the ancient ruins grew, and his single-minded pursuit began to wear on his companions. Arguments broke out over their course and the increasing risks. Carter's leadership was questioned, but his unwavering belief in the significance of their mission kept the team moving forward. As I read, I could sense the growing strain, the fraying bonds of camaraderie that threatened to unravel. They came across ancient ruins, and Carter became obsessed with deciphering the inscriptions. The ruins were unlike anything they had seen before, filled with cryptic symbols and eerie statues. Carter's entries were filled with sketches and notes, his excitement practically leaping off the pages. He believed the ruins held the key to forbidden knowledge, secrets that had been lost to time. His fascination was contagious, drawing me deeper into his world and his quest. I felt a strange connection to Carter's obsession, as if his experiences were somehow linked to my own fate. The more I read, the more I felt his emotions, his excitement, his frustration, and his growing sense of unease. It was as if the diary was a bridge between us, connecting our minds across time. This connection became more intense, making it difficult to distinguish my thoughts from Carter's. The line between reader and writer blurred, creating a bond that both intrigued and frightened me. Strange occurrences began happening around my house, mirroring the diary's events. Objects moved on their own, and the air grew heavy with an unexplainable presence. Shadows flickered at the edge of my vision, and whispers seemed to come from the walls. These phenomena mirrored the escalating tension in Carter's entries, as if the diary's curse was bleeding into my reality. Fear and curiosity waged a war within me, but I couldn't stop reading. I needed to uncover the truth, no matter the cost. Carter's diary revealed that the ruins held secrets to forbidden knowledge, warning against delving deeper. The inscriptions they found spoke of an ancient civilization that had unlocked powers beyond human comprehension. These secrets were guarded jealously, and anyone who sought them out would pay a terrible price. Carter's entries took on a darker tone as he wrote about the warnings and the legends surrounding the ruins. Despite these ominous signs, his determination only grew stronger. Despite warnings from locals and fellow explorers, Carter continued his investigation. The local tribespeople spoke of a curse that protected the ruins, a curse that had claimed the lives of many before them. His team began to fracture under the strain, some members insisting they turn back while others, captivated by Carter's fervor, pressed on. The tension escalated, and fear began to take root among them. Carter's obsession blinded him to the dangers, driving him deeper into the heart of the mystery. The team encountered supernatural phenomena, but Carter dismissed them as superstitions. They heard disembodied voices, saw ghostly apparitions, and experienced unexplained physical phenomena. Yet, Carter rationalized these occurrences, attributing them to the stress and isolation of their environment. His diary entries were filled with logical explanations, but there was an undercurrent of doubt. The more he dismissed these events, the more frequent and intense they became, challenging his skepticism. I started experiencing vivid nightmares, echoing Carter's descriptions of the supernatural events. Each night, I found myself trapped in the ruins, surrounded by the same symbols and statues Carter had drawn. The nightmares were so realistic that I woke up drenched in sweat, my heart pounding. The sense of dread and impending doom lingered long after I woke, making it difficult to distinguish dreams from reality. These nightmares were more than just dreams. They felt like memories, as if I was reliving Carter's experiences. My fear and curiosity were intertwined, driving me to read more despite the growing dread. Each page of the diary pulled me deeper into the darkness, revealing more about the ancient civilization and the secrets they guarded. Carter's descent into madness was slow but inevitable, and I could feel myself following the same path. The diary had become an addiction, a puzzle that I was compelled to solve. My life outside the diary faded into the background as I became consumed by its mysteries. Carter's entries grew increasingly erratic, as he became consumed by the ruin's secrets. His once meticulous handwriting turned shaky and uneven, reflecting his deteriorating mental state. He wrote about hearing voices that whispered his name and seeing shadows that moved independently of any light source. These entries were filled with paranoia and fear, but also a relentless determination to uncover the truth. The once logical and composed explorer was unraveling, and I could feel his madness seeping into my mind. He wrote about hearing voices and seeing shadows that tormented him. The voices spoke in ancient tongues, their meanings just out of reach, driving him to the brink of sanity. The shadows seemed to taunt him, always at the edge of his vision, disappearing when he tried to confront them. His team's numbers dwindled as members either vanished or fled in terror. Those who remained were as haunted as Carter, their eyes hollow and filled with dread. The diary's pages were filled with their desperate attempts to understand and escape the horrors they faced. The other team members began to disappear under mysterious circumstances. Carter wrote about finding their belongings abandoned with no sign of a struggle. The jungle seemed to swallow them whole, erasing their existence. Each disappearance added to the growing sense of doom. But Carter's obsession with the ruins kept him from turning back. He believed that understanding the secrets of the ruins was the key to their survival, even as it led them deeper into danger. The diary's narrative became more fragmented, filled with gaps and unfinished thoughts. I started noticing shadows moving in my peripheral vision and whispers echoing in my home. The eerie phenomena described in Carter's diary began to manifest in my life. At first, I dismissed them as tricks of the light or my imagination, but they became more persistent and harder to ignore. Shadows would flicker at the corners of my eyes, and I could hear faint, unintelligible whispers when I was alone. My home, once a sanctuary, became a place of unease and fear, mirroring the ruins Carter had explored. The line between reality and the diary's narrative began to blur for me. I found it increasingly difficult to separate my own thoughts from Carter's experiences. His fears became my fears, his madness my madness. I would catch myself writing in the margins of the diary, my handwriting disturbingly similar to Carter's. The diary's grip on me was tightening, and I could feel myself slipping into the same abyss that had claimed Carter. Yet, despite the growing terror, I couldn't bring myself to stop reading. The need to uncover the truth was overpowering. Carter discovered a hidden chamber within the ruins, filled with ancient artifacts and inscriptions. The chamber was buried deep within the labyrinthine structure, accessible only through a series of concealed passages. Carter's descriptions were vivid, detailing walls covered in intricate carvings and symbols that seemed to pulse with an otherworldly energy. The air inside the chamber was thick and oppressive, and an unsettling silence pervaded the space. His entries were filled with awe and trepidation as he realized the magnitude of his discovery. He believed he was on the verge of uncovering a groundbreaking discovery that would change humanity's understanding of history. The artifacts and inscriptions hinted at knowledge and power beyond comprehension, secrets that had been buried for millennia. Carter's excitement was palpable, but so was his fear. He wrote about feeling watched, as if the ancient guardians of these secrets were aware of his presence. His obsession with the chamber grew, and he spent hours meticulously documenting every detail. The chamber held a dark presence that seemed to be watching and waiting. Carter's entries described a sense of being observed by unseen eyes, a malevolent force that lurked in the shadows. He wrote about strange phenomena within the chamber, cold spots, flickering lights, and whispers that echoed off the stone walls. The presence seemed to grow stronger the longer he stayed, feeding off his fear and curiosity. His entries became increasingly frantic as he struggled to maintain his composure. I found a hidden compartment in my house containing items that matched the descriptions in Carter's diary. Among the items were a tarnished locket, a map with cryptic markings, and a small, carved idol. These discoveries sent a chill down my spine, confirming the connection between my home and Carter's expedition. The objects seemed to radiate an unsettling energy, and I felt compelled to examine them, despite the growing sense of dread. The parallels between my life and Carter's experiences became undeniable. The connection between my house and Carter's expedition became undeniable. As I continued reading the diary, I realized that my home was not just a resting place for Carter's diary, but a focal point for the ancient secrets he had uncovered. The manifestations of the supernatural grew more intense, and I felt the same dark presence that Carter had described. It was as if the curse of the chamber had followed him back, and now it had found a new victim in me. The diary's pull was stronger than ever, and I knew I was in grave danger. Carter's writings revealed that the chamber was cursed, and those who entered were doomed to suffer a terrible fate. His entries detailed ancient legends that spoke of guardians who protected the secrets within, exacting a heavy toll on anyone who dared to uncover them. The curse was relentless, bringing madness and suffering to those who sought forbidden knowledge. Carter's conviction grew stronger that he had unleashed something beyond his control, and his entries were filled with regret and fear. He started losing his grip on reality, describing horrifying visions and relentless torment. Carter wrote about seeing ghostly figures emerging from the walls, their eyes filled with sorrow and anger. These apparitions tormented him day and night, whispering in languages he couldn't understand. His dreams were plagued by nightmarish landscapes and twisted creatures, leaving him exhausted and paranoid. His once rational mind was consumed by terror, and he began to doubt his sanity. The curse began to affect me physically and mentally, causing unexplained injuries and psychological distress. I woke up with bruises and scratches that had no logical explanation. My sleep was filled with the same nightmarish visions Carter had described, leaving me drained and terrified. My health deteriorated, and I felt a constant weight of dread pressing down on me. The diary's influence was growing stronger, and the curse that had claimed Carter was now tightening its grip on me. I tried to distance myself from the diary, but an unseen force compelled me to continue reading. Every time I attempted to put it away, a powerful urge drew me back. It was as if the diary had a will of its own, demanding to be read. The more I resisted, the more intense the compulsion became. The shadows and whispers around my house grew more menacing, and I realized that I was trapped. The only way to find peace was to uncover the diary's final secrets. Desperation and fear consumed me as I realized I was trapped in a cycle of horror. The diary's curse was inescapable, binding me to the same fate that had befallen Carter. My life outside the diary ceased to matter. All that existed was the relentless pursuit of answers. The line between my thoughts and Carter's became increasingly blurred, and I feared I was losing myself to the madness that had claimed him. The only way forward was through the darkness, no matter the cost. Carter's final entries were fragmented and incoherent, hinting at a terrible truth he discovered. His writing was erratic, filled with half-finished sentences and desperate scribbles. He mentioned an ancient entity that guarded the secrets of the chamber, an entity that existed beyond the realm of human understanding. This entity was not just a guardian, but a malevolent force that fed on the fear and despair of those who sought its secrets. Carter's words were filled with terror and regret as he realized the true nature of what he had uncovered. He mentioned an ancient entity that guards the secrets and punishes those who seek them. This entity, as described by Carter, was a being of immense power and malice, bound to the chamber for eternity. It was both a protector and a tormentor, ensuring that the forbidden knowledge remained hidden. Carter's descriptions were chilling, painting a picture of a shadowy figure with glowing eyes that seemed to pierce through the darkness. The entity was relentless, haunting him at every turn. The entity's presence grew stronger, and Carter knew his end was near. His final entries were filled with a sense of impending doom, as he realized that escape was impossible. The entity had marked him, and there was no place he could hide. His fear was palpable, and his writings were filled with pleas for forgiveness and mercy. The once confident explorer was now a broken man, consumed by the very secrets he had sought to uncover. My reality started to crumble, and the entity began to manifest in my life, bringing terror and despair. The shadows around my house grew darker and more oppressive, and the whispers became a constant presence. Objects moved on their own, and I felt an icy chill whenever the entity was near. My own thoughts became consumed with fear, and I could sense the entity watching me, waiting for the right moment to strike. The diary's curse had fully taken hold, and there was no escaping its grip. The climax built as I uncovered the same terrible truth that drove Carter to madness. The entity's power was overwhelming, and I realized that I was doomed to the same fate as Carter. The diary's final pages revealed the full extent of the curse, and I knew that my time was running out. My last hope was to find a way to break the curse, but the entity's presence was too strong. The story was reaching its tragic conclusion, and I was powerless to stop it. Despite my efforts, the entity's power proved too strong, and I succumbed to its influence. Every attempt to destroy or distance myself from the diary was met with failure. The entity's presence grew more oppressive, and the line between reality and nightmare blurred beyond recognition. I felt its cold touch on my skin, its whispers invading my thoughts, driving me to the brink of insanity. My once clear mind was now a chaotic storm of fear and despair. The final chapter detailed my complete descent into madness, mirroring Carter's fate. My writings became erratic, filled with desperate pleas and incoherent thoughts. The shadows seemed to close in around me, and the whispers became deafening. I could no longer distinguish my own reflections from Carter's experiences. The diary had consumed me, and I was trapped in an unending cycle of horror. The entity's grip was unbreakable, and my will to fight faded away. The diary's curse claimed another victim, perpetuating the cycle of horror. My fate was sealed, and I could feel the entity's satisfaction as it fed on my fear. The once vibrant house now stood as a silent witness to my torment. The diary, with its pages filled with despair, awaited its next victim, ready to ensnare anyone who dared to uncover its secrets. The cycle of madness and terror would continue as it had for centuries. My last coherent thoughts were of regret and sorrow for having ever discovered the diary. I wished I had never ventured into the attic, never opened that cursed book. The promise of knowledge and discovery had led me to ruin, and I could only hope that others would heed the warnings I failed to recognize. My life, once filled with promise, was now a shadow of what it had been, consumed by the darkness of the diary's curse. The story ended with a haunting reminder that some secrets are meant to remain hidden. As I took my final breath, the entity's presence faded, satisfied with its latest victim. The diary lay in wait, its cursed pages ready to ensnare the next curious soul. The ancient secrets it contained were guarded by a malevolent force that ensured they remained hidden, exacting a terrible price on those who dared to seek them. The attic, now a place of silent horror, held the diary and its dark legacy, waiting for the cycle to begin anew.